On this vote, the yeas are 215 and the nays are 208. The concurrent resolution is adopted.
Breaking news late today, that is the House voting to rein in the Iran war. It is a huge rejection of Donald Trump's effort to keep this off the floor, and it took a break for Republicans breaking with Trump and joining Democrats to push this resolution just over the edge. This is one of those nail biters. Now, there's a long road from here to ending the war, but it shows you just how the opposition around the country is rising, and the war would be stopped if the entire Senate and Congress move forward on this with enough votes to trigger the full War Powers Act. So we're not there yet, but tonight we are watching a major rejection of Trump that included full Republicans and, as you see, many of the Democrats in the House. I'm joined by Reverend Al Sharpton, host of Politics Nation, of course, president of the National Action Network. Reverend Sharpton, this is a big rebuke of Trump's Iran war at a time when the country has clearly turned against it. What does a vote like this mean tonight?
Vote means that you now have a break in the dam, in the Trump dam, that it doesn't mean that you're going to get a flood, but it means you at least have a leak. And I think that this leak should be troubling to Trump, because as we now go from primary season almost over to the general elections, a lot of Republicans, after seeing these four in the House, are going to have to rethink how do they stand with this Iran situation, with gas prices still up and food and groceries still up. And we don't even see an end to the Strait of Hormuz being open. So this gives a lot of people things to think about. I don't think it's a slam dunk, but it starts the whole ballgame.
Yeah, and you rarely see this kind of War Powers Act resistance in Congress happen this fast.
Right.
Trump had famously promised a quick end to the war, a very hard to predict war. He was wrong. We know why he was saying that, because he knew already he was doing something risky and unpopular. So we've passed his timeline, busted through it. The public is very clear on this. I'll show the poll and remind everyone this is much worse than the first week of the war. Now, 60% of Americans oppose the Iran war. A tiny slice, 28% supporting. You do the math on that, Rev. Translation, a heck of a lot of Republican voters, people who voted for Trump at least once, are against this thing, which means that this is a midterm issue that the party has to worry about.
The party must worry about it. It is a midterm issue. When you see his endorsed candidate lose in Iowa, the handwriting is on the wall that they at least need to stop and look at what they're doing if they're not outright concerned. And clearly, with the president going back and forward with the $1.8 billion slush fund and this, that, and other, none of this is helping them. But the war at a centerpiece of this, because this is hitting people where they live. You can talk all of the ideology you want. You can talk all the politics you want. When a person pulls up to the gas station and it's $4.50 to $6 a gallon, that is not politics to him. That's real life. And that the president can't explain and has not explained.
Mm-hmm. And the wider narrative has really shifted. You know, forever we heard Republicans will stand with him on everything. They won't break. This doesn't move them. That doesn't move them. What'll move? That was sort of, we heard that endlessly. And there was a period of time when it felt like that. And now, you know, you really stitched together. You had pushback on tariffs. You had them overriding him with a veto-proof majority on Epstein. You have a lot of concern about the way he's picking candidates in the midterm. So the Senate Republicans were mad at what he did down in Texas. You had recently a vote that not everyone in the country was following, but a vote where he wanted to move forward on some of the immigration stuff, and over the fund you just mentioned, the Republicans said no, and they didn't give him that vote. You have the ballroom pushback, and now today you have this. And you start to say, gosh, it's not that they never buck him, it's that on several big key things in the last months, they keep bucking him.
Consistently bucking him, and it looks like small steps, but it starts adding up. One of the things I think that happens is it's very hard to say that I'm not going to be against somebody who seems to have no problem being against me. So when they see what he did in Texas with Cornyn and others, they say, well, wait a minute. There's no price for even trying to show belated loyalty to this guy. Cornyn voted with him most of the time, and he just tried to destroy him and did. So I think that at some point, your self-esteem kicks in, saying, how am I going to be with a guy that will be disloyal to me if he decides in the middle of the night to just tweet something. So I better protect my own hide because he certainly is not.